Hello, Miss Julian. Today I'm going to be talking about world's freshwater and the proportion of that to usable freshwater and other types of sources of water. Distribution of water is not equal throughout the globe. Many populations do not have access to water because of this. There are lots of ways to use water around the world. In fact, we use most of the water for irrigation and agriculture, but there are some that use it for industries and businesses, such as companies, and there are some, like me and you, that use it for cities and residences. But this water availability is limited in developing countries because they don't have the access to technology, economic resources and healthcare resources, which put them in a circumstance to care more about those situations than their water availability. Disputes over control for water are developing mostly in these areas too, because people are not accepting the fact that they are not able to have water like everybody else. So now I'm going to talk about the different sources for water and their advantages and disadvantages, and what we can use most effectively in our society. Aquifers are one type of resource that can be used for sustainable water. It's a renewable resource unless water is removed faster than is replenished. It is useful for drinking yearly and everywhere, renewable, no evaporation, and cheaper to extract than most of the other resources. But aquifer depletion can cause lots of problems, including sinking of land, and polluted aquifers are polluted for decades because the water doesn't leak out as quickly. Also, there's reduced water flow because of the constant contamination in that pollution area being stabilized by stagnant water, and how the water just stays in one place for a very long time. Some other important sources of water are levees, dams, and reservoirs. Levees are enlarged bank buildup that prevent water overflow. Dams are barriers that run across a river to prevent water flow. And reservoirs are water stored behind the dam that's used as a supply, usually fresher than other sources of water. So a lot of the advantages are that it prevents flooding and generates electricity, and it also controls the water flow and allows more fresh water. But the disadvantages are that there's no flowing water that can allow fertility and overflow onto the banks. It's a financial strain to be able to support every single one of these sources, and it displaces people that will try to live on these areas because the water builds up, and so they can't live on that side. Or on the other side, there isn't enough water to be able to plant their crops and keep them going. And finally, it carries sediment that can be a source of eutrophication for the animals in the ocean and water that it supports. Some other sources of water are water transfer and aqueducts, which at the aqueduct, or both in this case, are dug up areas of channel used to remove water from one place to another, almost as a transportation system. Advantages include waters being able to go to cities from pristine areas, energy, jobs, water filtration, and conservation. Disadvantages are that it costs a lot of money to be able to bring that channel from one city or one area to another, fragmented habitats, and it diverts water flow, also affecting the climate. And even though this method of transportation of the water is effective, it also is ineffective because of the loss of water between the two areas. One other source of water filtration is desalination, which is basically removing salt from salt water, like in the ocean, for example. Reverse osmosis. So it uses heat to boil the water, and while it's evaporating, salt is left behind, and the steam is captured for water that they can use once again. Some advantages and disadvantages of this method are that the water is more available to drink, and you can use saltwater availability to your advantage. But distillation uses a lot of energy, and the reverse osmosis that's involved leaves a lot of brine water, which leaves more contamination and more need to pay for these situations that to clean the water. Reverse osmosis is where the membrane where water can pass and not salt. Although these are many sources of water and being able to transport, filter, and clean the water, there are many other ways that we can obtain water, including from the sky and from other sources around the world like ice or glaciers. Thank you for watching my review video about one topic for the final exam, and I hope it helped review at least one or two topics that you did not understand or were not clear about, and that this went in enough detail about each of the water sources and water contamination and filtering methods. Thank you for watching.